Once upon a time, in a place called Elsinore, there were two kingdoms constantly butting heads, Fausterie and Androya. To end the drama, the royal families came up with a plan: marry off their heirs, Princess Carolina of Fausterie and Prince Desmond of Androya. Problem was, they weren't in love. At all. During their engagement photo shoot, the two of them looked miserable. Super cold, barely talking, clearly not into each other. Then, just a week later, scandal. Rumors started swirling in Androya that Carolina was secretly seeing a plumber. Yeah, you heard that right. Edwin, the royal family's personal advisor, totally flipped out. He said it was disgraceful behavior for a princess and warned that this could spark another round of tension between the kingdoms. But Desmond? Chill as ever. He didn't get mad or even care, really. To him, the whole engagement was just some old political deal his grandpa cooked up years ago. Over lunch, his dad, King Richmond, lost it. He was furious, feeling like Carolina had totally disrespected their family at the worst possible time. Desmond, trying to be the reasonable one, told his dad to breathe and think of a smarter, more diplomatic move. Later, he casually asked Edwin about Carolina's sister, Betty. Edwin explained that Betty had vanished about 20 years ago after being bullied online for looking too plain. Just disappeared off the map. Desmond had an idea. Find Betty. Maybe she's the one he should marry instead. Cut to Boston. Betty's sitting in her apartment, heartbroken because her boyfriend just dumped her. Her roommate, Chloe, is doing her best to cheer her up. Come on, girl. Way better guys are out there. Like that hot one we just passed on the street. Turns out Betty and Chloe run a women's empowerment nonprofit. They've got a big pitch with investors that day, so Chloe urges her to get it together. Right before they head out, Betty gets a weird call from an unknown number. Outside, while waiting for their ride, Chloe notices a bald guy staring at them. Betty's just laughing it off like, relax, he probably just chases women with student loans. They finally get to the investor meeting and totally kill it. Their pitch? Helping young women become independent and future-ready. Powerful stuff. But the investor? Completely poker face. Not impressed. Zero reaction. On the way back, Chloe sees the bald guy again. Now she's officially suspicious. Betty's still brushing it off until a black van starts following them. Suddenly, it all gets real. The bald guy and some others step forward. They're royal reps from Androya. Super polite, but very firm. Miss Betty, your presence is urgently needed for the future of our kingdoms. Betty's like, what? But after thinking about it, she agrees to go. In the car, Chloe keeps pressing her. Finally, Betty admits the truth. I'm actually a princess. I've just been hiding it to live a normal life. They arrive at this gorgeous palace. Desmond, Edwin, and a full royal welcome team are there. Desmond tries to explain everything, but things get heated fast. He and Betty argue right away. Eventually, Desmond drops the truth. Look, with Carolina out, the only way to stop the fighting is if you marry me. But Betty's still nursing her broken heart and says no way. Chloe is stunned. How are you turning down a hot, rich prince? But Betty's got her reasons. She's not into royal guys, especially not the proud, golf-obsessed, suit-wearing type. Desmond, meanwhile, is offended. He thinks Betty is being cold, selfish, and a little rude. To fix things, the two kings, Richmond and Vincent, try to have a civil meeting. Spoiler alert, it fails. They just roast each other. Economy, politics, egos, nothing's off the table. Carolina, fed up, tells Betty everything. She begs her to consider marrying Desmond, for peace's sake. Betty doesn't blame Carolina at all. In fact, she says, if this helps you and helps everyone, maybe I can do it. So, Betty and Desmond meet up again. This time, Desmond ditches the drama and invites her to dinner. Betty says, no royal nonsense, just one real date. Desmond's like, got it. But 5 minutes later, he drops to one knee mid-dinner and proposes in front of the whole palace. Betty's like, whoa, too much. She tells him, before any proposals, how about we just go out, like normal people? She wants street food, real conversation, no guards, no pressure. After a moment, Desmond agrees. They sneak out, hit a night market, and try seblek, spicy Indonesian street food. They sit on the curb, eat with their hands, and for the first time, it's real. Desmond even confesses he hates golf. Always has. They go bowling, meet a quirky couple, Kokum and Chechet, and just live, laugh, have fun. What Desmond doesn't know, he's secretly a bowling champion back home. They hug their new friends goodbye, and for the first time ever, Desmond feels what it's like to be treated like a normal person. Meanwhile, back at the palace, chaos. No one knows where they are. Edwin thinks they've been kidnapped. Media goes wild. Once they return, Edwin is livid. To fix the scandal, he suggests moving the wedding to tomorrow. That night, Betty's mom Maggie calls her. "Are you sure about this?" she asks. She pauses, then says, "You and Dad gave me freedom and love. You let me live the life I wanted. Now, I want to give something back." She's ready. Next day, pre-wedding photo shoot time. Top stylists, designer gowns, royal makeup. Betty walks in looking absolutely stunning. Desmond sees her, and it hits him. She's everything. Their engagement goes viral. Betty's apartment gets mobbed by reporters. Investors who once ignored her, suddenly all interested again. Chloe's like, okay, wow. Betty tells her the backstory. Fausterie and Androya were once one kingdom, but 300 years ago, when the king died with no heir, it all split. That's why this marriage matters so much. It could reunite the two lands. Next day, just as Betty is walking in to meet Desmond's family, she slips. And yep, it goes viral. Later that night, Betty can't sleep. She heads to the palace kitchen and runs into Neneng, the royal cook. Neneng makes her tea and tells her how Desmond once paid off her debt when no one else would. "Please," she says, "don't break his heart." Betty, feeling emotional, decides to take Desmond's tea up to him herself. They finally have a real talk. Desmond opens up, tells her how amazing he thinks she is, how proud he is of her work with women. She shares her heart too, her passion, her past. And then he asks, "Do you think this could ever be real love?" She doesn't answer yet. Next day, Fausterie hosts a royal banquet. The two kings argue again, classic, but on the other side of the room, Queen Lupinia and Maggie are bonding like BFFs. Betty plans a surprise for Desmond. She leads him up to the palace rooftop under a sky full of stars. It's quiet, magical. That night, everything starts to change. The next morning, Betty and Desmond wake up to sunlight pouring in through the windows. At lunch, the kings argue again. Classic. But Betty stands up and says, a real leader puts their people before their pride. She and Desmond organize a group sit-down. They all open up, even play a silly game of Guess Who to break the tension. Then, something big. Turns out, Richmond and Winston were once friends. Real friends. But they were raised to hate each other. Now, they're ready to move forward. Together. The kingdoms finally make peace, which means Betty and Desmond don't have to get married anymore. Everything they did worked. They should be happy, but they're both heartbroken. As Desmond leaves, he turns to Betty and says, "Thank you. You showed me what freedom really is. I'll never forget you." Betty is shaken until Chloe says, "Girl, if you love him, go get him." They hop on a scooter, but of course it runs out of gas. Chloe yells, "Run!" Meanwhile, Desmond tells his driver to stop. "I need to see her." They meet at the border, face to face. "I love you," he says. "This isn't about politics anymore, not about kingdoms, just us." And this time, she says yes. 1 week later, they're deep in wedding prep. Edwin is thriving. Guest list, playlist, he's all over it. And yes, Kokum and Chechet got VID invites. And just like that, the movie ends. Fade out.